Hi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching and for subscribing. And if you're just visiting, please consider subscribing. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to name this video, but the idea here is to buy or not to buy. And what I mean here is I want to share with you some fragrances from my collection that I would repurchase and some that I would not. And to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to show you two fragrances from the same house. One that I would buy and one that I would not buy again. So let's start with the house of Atelier Desures. I have two fragrances here, Lune Feline and Choir of Angels. Now, I love both of these fragrances. I really do. But I don't think that I'm going to repurchase Lune Feline again. It is just the type of fragrance that I don't reach for often. I have to be in a mood to reach for it. This is a really spicy, woody vanilla. Cardamom here is extremely strong, extremely strong. This is a fragrance that kind of smelled initially like burnt rubber to me. It thankfully doesn't smell like that anymore. It just smells like a very spicy vanilla, very woody vanilla, very resinous. It's a deep, deep scent. And again, like I said, I have to be either in a mood for this, and also the weather has to be appropriate. To me, I can only wear this scent when it's really, really cold outside. And so that kind of limits, how often I can use it. Now, I'm not getting rid of this bottle. Like I said, I love it and I use it when I'm in a mood and when it's the right weather. But if you ask me if I'm going to purchase it again, I won't. Now, Choir of Angels, on the other hand, I would definitely buy again. I love this scent. It's so cheerful. It's so easygoing. This scent to me is mostly about blood orange and about honey. I mean, there are a lot of other notes. I think there is even blackcurrant. What else is here? Pear, osmanthus, other notes. But really, it's this juicy, sweet blood orange that's drizzled on top with a lot of honey. It almost has some kind of candy vibe. Not sure what candy, but it's kind of going in that direction. But this one is very easy to wear. I can wear it anytime during the day. It doesn't matter what weather is outside. I love this scent. My daughter also loves this scent. So this one, if I run out of it, I will definitely buy again. Next, let's talk about the house of Dolce & Gabbana. And here, the two fragrances that I'm going to show you are The Only One and L'Imperatrice. And I think if you watched me for any length of time, it will be very easy to tell which one I'm going to repurchase. Of course, it is The Only One because I've raved about this fragrance many times. In fact, I think I included it in a recent video about my current obsessions. Yes, I love this scent. This is such a beautiful, sweet caramel coffee type of scent with a slight touch of fruitiness. This is a scent that definitely reminds me of going to Starbucks. I love it. For me, this scent is incredibly addictive. Even though it doesn't have very good lasting power, but I don't care. I just enjoy the scent profile so much. L'Imperatrice, on the other hand, when I purchased it, I really, really enjoyed it. And you see, I've used quite a bit. But there are kind of two reasons why I am not going to repurchase it. One, lasting power is terrible. It doesn't last on me. That's one of the reasons why so much is missing, because I really have to overspray. And I mean, really, really overspray. And even then, you know, it doesn't last all that great. But the other thing is, even though I still semi-enjoy the scent profile, it's not my favorite. For some reason, the rhubarb in here, and there is I think there's rhubarb, there's watermelon, whatever else, but really these two notes stand out the most. The rhubarb in here kind of became a little bit too sour for me. Maybe even a little bit too juvenile, you know? So I enjoy it, but it's not my favorite. So I don't think I'm going to get rid of this bottle. I think I'm going to finish using it, perhaps not just spray it on myself. I think this is the type of scent where I can easily spray it in the room. I can easily spray it on my bed sheets, etc. So I'm definitely going to use it up, but I have no desire to repurchase it again. Next, let's talk about Chanel Chance line. I have two fragrances here that I've had for a very, very long time. These are some of the oldest surviving fragrances in my collection. So I have Fraiche, the one that's a little bit green, and the pink one, which I can never pronounce properly, but Tendre, or however that gets pronounced. Now, one of these I still really, really enjoy, and one I don't enjoy as much as I did before. So let's talk about the green one, Fraiche. This one, to me, is a beautiful, fresh, citrusy scent. To me, it's really all about the citruses, really juicy, really zingy, very fresh citruses. And I still absolutely love it. I really, really love it. It is still one of my favorite citrus scents. I would totally repurchase it again. Totally. Now, Tendre, on the other hand, something happened and I don't enjoy the scent profile as much as I did. And by the way, both of these used to be my signature scents back in the day. I always had bottles of both of these and I would totally use them interchangeably. You know, one day one of them, the other day another one. Sometimes I would kind of enjoy one a little more over the other, but I loved both of these. And I can't say that this one smells terrible to me, but not quite as good as it used to. You know, this one I think has citruses as well, although it leans a little bit more on the floral side. It is also sweeter than Fraiche. And there is just something, there is some kind of, I don't know, creaminess or something in the sweetness that bothers me a little bit. Again, I don't hate it by any means, but I also don't enjoy it. And I also, if given a choice now, I would not repurchase it. Next, let's talk about one of my favorite indie houses. That's the house of Kerosene. And I am not going to go with an absolutely obvious choice here of Unknown Pleasures. I think if I included that one, obviously all of you would know that, of course, I will repurchase it again because it's one of my all-time favorites. It's one of my top gourmands. So instead, I went with Sweetly Known and Follow. One of these I would repurchase again and another one I would not. So let's start with Sweetly Known. Sweetly Known is another gourmand, but it's an extremely spicy gourmand. There's a very strong note of cardamom. I mean, you can smell it so strongly even here from the bottle. You don't need to spray it at all. I mean, cardamom is here. I think there's also like a note of some kind of burnt match of something. And there's definitely a little bit of that, some kind of like something burning feeling. You know, really, when you burn a match, it has a little bit of that smell. Of course, there is a lot of vanilla in here, and it just smells like Christmas. It smells like baking during Christmas time. Now, Follow is also a very strong scent, and this is a very strong coffee scent. There is, I don't think it's the note of coffee in here. Let me look it up. But there is roasted coffee beans, and definitely it smells like that. This is very strong coffee. This is like an espresso. This is a coffee that doesn't have any milk or cream added in. And at first, it even almost doesn't have any sweetness in it, but as it develops on the skin, a lot more sweetness and smoothness comes out. And in fact, I find base here, like when it truly develops on the skin, the base is actually somewhat similar to Unknown Pleasures. But you know, this is not for everyone. This is for true coffee lovers. You know, not everyone would enjoy. Many think that it smells like burnt coffee, and I totally understand where they're coming from. So both of these are beasts. Now, which one would I purchase again and which one I would not? Well, I would purchase again Follow. Even though it's a strong coffee scent, but I absolutely love it. I love this coffee scent. To me, it's one of the best coffee scents. And it is also different from the other coffee scents because I find that the other coffee scents that I've tried, they're more like coffee with milk or coffee with cream. They're definitely not as potent, not as strong. This one is the strongest and kind of unique coffee scent in my opinion. So I would repurchase this one. Sweetly Known, on the other hand, although I love it, I still love it and I'm not decluttering, I'm keeping it, but the spiciness in here is a little bit too strong. This is a scent that I can only honestly wear probably around Christmas time, like, you know, sort of a December, late November, early January. This is really the only time where I wear it, where I find it appropriate, where I like the way, where I really enjoy the way it smells. Let's put it this way. I mean, I always love the way that it smells from the bottle, but it's just not something that I want to spray on myself during any other time. So for that reason, you know, this is not, to me, not as universal as Follow. And so I would probably not repurchase it again, but I definitely would repurchase Follow. Now let's go to the house of Dior. And here I have Feve Delicieuses and Tobacolor. Again, trying to be maybe a little bit sneakier here because I also have Gris Dior from this house, and I think if I included that one, that would be clear from the beginning that definitely I would repurchase that one because it's an absolute must, it's an absolute love. But I think it's a little bit harder to tell with these two which one I would repurchase and which one I would not. So let's start with Tobacolor. You know, this one I mentioned before that the name is a little bit deceiving. You might think that this fragrance is all about tobacco. And although tobacco is here, but to me, this is about honey. Really, really sweet, dripping down your hand kind of honey that's very rich, very deep, very sweet. And yes, there is a little bit of smoke added in from tobacco, but tobacco is not the main player. Now, Feve, of course, almost all of you know Feve. This fragrance is about tonka bean in general, although there are a ton of notes. To me, this also has a bit of aromatic touch, especially in the opening. There's also sort of a bit of a chocolatey vibe here. Again, very rich, very deep, kind of sweet, kind of a little bit spicy, a little bit aromatic type of scent. Now, I'm really happy to have both in my collection, but to be honest, I don't think I would repurchase Feve again. It's just not a fragrance that I reach for all that often. And at this point, I don't think it's my absolute favorite tonka scent. And it is most likely because of that aromatic touch that it has at the beginning. Tobacolor, on the other hand, well, will I ever need to repurchase it? Probably not, because this is a beast, a huge, huge beast. This is a fragrance where 2 sprays is more than enough. So will I ever go through this bottle? Highly unlikely. But if by some miracle I finish this bottle, yes, I would definitely repurchase it. I think this scent is stunning, absolutely stunning. Next, let's go to the house of Oud. And here I chose Keep Glazed and What About Pop. Now, what about pop? I've spoken about both of these multiple times. This is a beautiful popcorn scent. There is a note of popcorn here. It almost has that salty caramel vibe. It's very, very buttery. You almost feel that buttery texture, but at the same time, it is not very dense. It is not very thick. It is definitely airy, so it's not overpowering. Now, Keep Glazed is a very fruity scent, and it's almost like some kind of a fruity dessert. Of course, there is the note of mango. I think there is a lemon blossom or something like that. There is strawberry leaf. There is whipped cream. So it really feels like some kind of fruity dessert. Now, I really, really enjoy both of these scents, but if I had to choose, I would repurchase Keep Glazed and not repurchase What About Pop. Just because, again, this is a scent that I have to be in the mood to use. And if I'm completely honest, I don't reach for it all that often. For some reason, you know, I've been looking, before I purchased it, I've been looking for a good popcorn scent. And this is definitely the best popcorn scent that I have ever tried, and I'm thrilled to have it, but it's not a scent that I reach for very often. Now, Keep Glazed, on the other hand, I love. I find it so addictive. I find it so delicious. I find it just mouth-watering. Absolutely love it. If I go through it, I would definitely 100% repurchase it. And now let's end with a very predictable duo, especially if you watched my latest haul and declutter. You will know right away which one I would repurchase and which one I would not. And these two fragrances are from the house of Orlov. This is out of the box, and this one is Star, what is it called? Yeah, Star of the Season. I forgot the name for a second there. So again, if you watched my haul and declutter, you know that this one turned out to be a bit of a disappointment to me. It's not a bad scent by any means. It's a scent that features the note of rose, kind of a sweet, slightly musky, a very smooth and buttery, and maybe even a little bit smoky type of rose. It's lovely, but it's nothing special. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It smells like many other fragrances. So for that reason, I definitely would not repurchase it. In fact, I'm trying to declutter the bottle that I have. Now, Star of the Season, on the other hand, I would definitely repurchase because I think it's a beautiful, beautiful scent. To me, this scent is all about plums, although there are dates in here as well, but this is really about the plum, a really kind of a smoky, rich, maybe even dried plum, like more like a prune, even with a slight touch of booziness, perhaps. Sometimes, you know, I don't always get that boozy element, but sometimes I get a bit of booziness. I think it's really, really beautiful, kind of understated type of scent. Really deserves a bit more talk about it than it gets. I really haven't really heard anyone talk about it on YouTube, but I think it's a beautiful scent and I would definitely repurchase it, but out of the box, no. That's definitely a no for me. So there you go. Here are some fragrances that I would definitely repurchase, while others I would not purchase again. Would love to know what scents from your collection you would repurchase again and which ones you would not. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye.